You know, what's really rather odd about the left and progressives' relationship with anti-Israel Islamist causes is that you would expect, for example, Hamas and Gaza to be everything the left and progressives hate. They're authoritarian, they are utterly hierarchical, they are, in terms of women's rights and protection of minorities' rights, it's the opposite of what they claim to stand for. On so many counts, stealing of aid for their military, a police state so that the people can't be fed, and yet they seem to have this love for Islamists. There's a great clip here of Apostate Prophet where, in a conversation on their channel, they try and break down what it is about leftists that seem to love Islam so much. Have a watch.
The funny thing is, I remember like 10 years ago, there was this whole idea that, wow, Christianity is dying and atheism is rising. Soon everyone is going to be an atheist. Look at the statistics and all that. And
look how rational we'll be.
And
pregnant men. Wait, what? How do we get to that?
It quickly got out of hand. You know?
Yeah, like that escalated quickly. Yes. That line from Anchorman.
Yes. And the thing is, there's also this hypocrisy, which I noticed from my own side as an ex-Muslim, where you have these non-Christian or ex-Christian atheists who go out and talk about how bad religion is, but then when the topic of Islam comes, they're like, whoa. Hold on.
Isn't that wild?
Let's not be bigoted. Let's not be Islamophobic. It's like, wait a minute. So we have Christianity, the culture that led to your having these freedoms and this beautiful life and all that. And you have issues with this. You have anger and all that directed at this religion. And then we have Islam, the religion which is the most oppressive religion in the world, the most destructive religion in the world, that is also threatening to take over your society. And you're like, oh, we don't want to talk bad about that. Seriously? This doesn't seem very rational.
Yeah,
and
it is interesting.
And there are lots of people, to be fair, in the new atheist sphere who have spoken about Islam and who have criticized Islam and who have acknowledged it. But it's always just, oh yeah, you know, that's a secondary or issue or a lesser issue. And when you actually speak about Islam and are critical of it, you get lots of leftist atheist pushback. Like, I mean, they to this day, the atheist leftist circles are calling on and trying to cancel Bill Maher because he doesn't like Islam. Like, so many people just...
Isn't that wild? Leftism and Islam?
Yeah.
Like, what a weird bedfellows.
It is very, very...
What accounts for that, do you think? Is it demonic? Is it that... And I don't know how far you are down your Christian journey, so you might not be comfortable with that language, but I wonder if both leftism, at least at the far fringes of it, and Islam are both enemies of Christianity.
I would say it comes down to some simpler explanations, which are that it has a lot to do with people being just stupid and ignorant. And
I read this meme once. It said, you know, everything happens for a reason, and sometimes that reason is you're an idiot and don't think things through or something. I like that.
Now, there is, among the leftists and the atheists, I have to say, as much as they spread lots of dumb stuff, dumb ideas, there is one thing that is very common and very dominant among them, which is that they often try to argue from a place of a very emotional compassion and a very misguided and misplaced sense of feeling bad for the others and for the minorities and all of that, and feeling like, you know, the Christian traditional guy at home, he's the bad guy, and those other minorities, no matter who they are, they must be the good guys. Let's protect them. It's a very stupid idea.
Do you see that among the left towards the Jews?
No, because...
And why?
Because the Jews have become because the Jews are successful people. They're successful people. They're integrated people. They do very well. They are often economically, educationally, intellectually, and so on, doing even better than the local traditional Christian population, white population. So they stick out as those who are better off than anyone else, which is why they don't deserve your compassion for those who are treated unfairly and those who don't have it very well. So you have to always, even if the worst people are at the bottom, and they are at the bottom because they stick to very horrible ideas and horrible things. You have to see them as the good guys who deserve your protection. This is basically the leftist mindset.
You know what's funny is that this is a perversion of Christian compassion.
Yes.
So
This is Christian.
this came from Christianity, and it's been distorted. Bad.
This is what Tom Holland argues, where he basically argues accurately, I would say, that much of the culture that we have in the West today, including the leftist culture, the liberalism, and all of that, is basically a perversion and distortion of the good values that people took from Christianity. It's the understanding each other, the seeing each other as equals before God, the compassion for the less fortunate, and so on. These are Christian values that people who are anti-Christianity take from Christianity without understanding that this is what Christianity gave them, and then they hate Christianity in return for perceived injustices within Christianity. It's so ironic. They think Christianity is bad, or Christian culture, Christian tradition is bad, it's unfair, it's mean, but they basically criticize the Christian culture and the Christian injustices and unfairness from a Christian perspective without understanding that this is what they're doing. It's the Christian culture that gave people freedoms. It's the Christian culture that brought forth what you call liberalism, what the democracies that we have in the West. The human rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is based on a Western Christian mindset. These are Christian ideals that were perverted and distorted and are now used against tradition itself. It's dumb, you know. It's stupid, and unfortunately, Islam is a perfect culture or a perfect religion and a perfect culture that will happily take advantage of this and come here and say, yeah, cool. You guys keep doing that. You guys keep tolerating and attacking each other while we increase our numbers and start imposing our own laws and our own issues. This is what's happening in the UK, basically, and in other European countries.
Wow.
Absolutely fascinating. There's actually a couple points that I wanted to pick up on there. First of all, by the way, I would just add, given that this is JTV, he's right that a lot of the ideas and values that Western liberal democracy is based on stems from Christianity, but the ideas that were brought forth by the founders of America and the evolution of British democracy, and the ones that really worked quite well and led to human rights and progress, it really came originally from the Hebrew Bible, and the American founders were pretty explicit about that. They saw themselves as almost creating a new promised land. So Christianity, in many ways, yes, they brought it, but they were the messengers of the original Jewish Torah message, and we have to, I think, acknowledge that. Of course, we're grateful to Christianity and even Islam, by the way, for bringing some of the ideas of Judaism to much of the world and making them well known. But of course, there has also been some distortions along the way. I also want to talk about what he said, which I think is so accurate, that the woke progressive mindset, the reason why they can't handle Israel and the Jews is because the people that are so successful despite being constantly victimized throughout history, they can't process that. For them, they wallow in victimhood and honor them, but they don't want to see them transform, and they don't like the idea of people that prove, no, you can get out of the downtrodden, degraded state that you're in. You can overcome it. And that's why Israel's so threatening to them. By the way, it's completely incoherent, because there are some minority groups which they may well consider, hallowed minority victims, unlike Jews, who sometimes do even better than Jews, like the Indian communities in the West and other Asian communities. So it's all just a bit incoherent. But yes, they do praise, glorify, worship whoever they perceive to be the greatest victim, no matter how flawed their culture may be. And so that's what leads them to supporting, Islamists over the West time and time again. By the way, there is a place always for one making moral judgments and considering, okay, what are the power dynamics here? But ultimately, we're told that when it comes to having courts of law and making moral judgments from a human standpoint, it's going to be very, very dangerous to go down the path of, well, there's bad power dynamics here, so we'll just excuse you of this, we'll excuse you of that. You know, if courts of law in Western societies excuse stealing because someone had a challenged upbringing, you'll have complete chaos. It doesn't mean that in the heavenly courts, from God's perspective, he's not taking that into account. It doesn't mean that in our relationships outside of the courtroom, we should be compassionate and take those things into account. I just thought it was a little side point to mention there. But ultimately, without strict cases of there's right and there's wrong, societies will crumble. And that's what the left seems not to understand. And they touched on at the start about there was this notion that the more secular we get, the more Christianity departs from the Western mindset, the biblical Judeo-Christian values. The more they depart, the more enlightened we'll become. But as they joked at the start, well, what's happened? We don't even know what a woman is anymore. We are seeing in the aftermath of October 7th, the media, academics, and college culture, celebrity culture, completely unable to see and state the clear moral truths about right and wrong. Unable to say that calling for the genocide against Jews depends on the context. It's amazing. One of the first Jewish phrases that we're meant to say every morning as Jews in the prayer book is, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God, the awe of God, recognizing God. In other words, without God, you cannot have wisdom. And so that may have seemed to us in recent decades archaic and out of touch, but actually it turns out that without God's divine instruction and wisdom, humanity, time and time again, loses its way. We are utterly illiterate in the extent to which we are owed an enormous debt of gratitude to the Torah, to the message first articulated by the Jews at Mount Sinai. So much of the values we take for granted and think, yeah, it's obvious. The value of human life, family values, peace as an ideal, justice and equality before the law. It was first articulated by the Jews, and before that, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, other societies and civilizations, they didn't propagate those values. So we take it all for granted. We take for granted how, without God, there is no wisdom. And actually, we've just released a new documentary called A World Without the Jews, which shows how much the world owes these kind of values to the Jews and Judaism. It's on JTV Plus, our new exclusive streaming platform with exclusive documentaries and other premium content. Have a watch of the trailer, and if you want to watch it, you can click on the link in the video description.
The most basic of all of our values, which is the value of life, is largely absent from the ancient world. That's kind of shocking. How come 6,000 years of human history is basically 6,000 years of warfare? The question we have to answer is, what is it about Judaism that enabled the Jewish people to be so impactful? We don't appreciate how much the world has been formed by these values because they have so seeped into our collective consciousness for so long.
To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.